Welcome back to another OHL Prospect Primer. Today I'm joined by Corey Prodman, prospects writer for The Athletic, who's here to break down the top-ranked NHL draft eligible defensemen. Corey, glad to have you on. How are things?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
So I'm glad to hear it. Well, let's get to it and dive into the highly anticipated Jamie Drysdale, top-ranked defenseman heading into the draft. I know he's your top-ranked defenseman heading into the draft. And we know he's one of the best skaters in this draft class. He has good mobility, good vision. Maybe you can speak to how that explosive skating translates into offensive chances.
Yeah, I mean, his skating is the foundation of his game, and I think anyone who's watched him or been around him would admit the same. He's an elite skater, arguably the best pure skater in the draft. His skating allows him to do so much, and particularly offensively. He's elite at his zone exits and entries. I know that's an aspect of his game he says he really prides himself in terms of being able to transition the puck up the ice with his skating. Allows him to escape pressure really easily. You never really see him get pressured into bad turnovers in his own end. And from the offensive blue line, he can be really creative in terms of how deceptive he is with his feet, creating space, walking the line, coming down from the blue line deeper into the offensive zone. His skating really allows him to do a lot offensively and as well defensively.
Absolutely. So in your opinion, what makes him NHL ready?
Well, I probably would not say he's 100% NHL ready. I think he'll be a guy who gets a good look at his camp wherever he goes. I expect he'll go somewhere in that kind of 4 to 10 range. 4 will probably be on the high end for him. I think he'll get a long look. He's not the biggest defenseman yet, so I think he might need another year or so to build up strength. But I think when you look at the attributes that project into the NHL that help a guy translate from junior to the NHL, skating is right at the top of the list. So if you're an elite skater, you're going to get a long look at an NHL camp, even if you're an 18-year-old defenseman. I suspect he might get sent back for one more year, but it wouldn't surprise me to see him get an extended stay, some preseasons, or maybe even 1 or 2 NHL games right out of the gate.
What do you like best about Jamie's game?
I think he is an elite skater, as we already mentioned, and he has elite hockey sense. I don't think like the hands or the size or the shot are what's going to pop out, but I think those two extremely important attributes, drive his game and make him a true top prospect. I think his hockey sense is exceptional. His outlets are really, really good. He shows great creativity from the offensive zone. He's not flashy, but he's just really efficient. He makes so many good decisions with the puck. He's creative with the puck. He moves the puck with pace. And defensively, he shows great awareness on how to make all the right plays. I think he's going to be a player that coaches are going to become big fans of because of how efficient and intelligent he is. And I think he's going to be trusted to play significant responsibility on his NHL team.
All right, moving on to Sioux Greyhounds blue liner Ryan O'Rourke. Now, Ryan was named captain of the Greyhounds at just 17 years old. Does that leadership translate into his on-ice product?
Yeah, for sure. I think if you watch Ryan, and I think all scouts who watch Ryan praise his competitiveness and his physicality. He is not, that tall. I think he's around 6'0", 6'1", and maybe forgetting off the top of my head. But he's a very physical player. He wins a ton of battles. He shows up every night ready to compete. And I think that endears him to the Sioux staff, which is why he got that letter. I think he has other components of his game that makes him interesting. He's a very intelligent two-way defenseman, not a really flashy guy in terms of speed or skill, but it's that competitiveness and the intelligence that has really, I think, endeared him to scouts as well as the Sioux staff. And I think he could be, a high to mid second. And I've even heard inklings that, I would say outside chance of being a late first round pick.
That competitiveness and that defensive awareness, is that what NHL clubs are going to love most about his defensive game?
Yeah, I think, realistically, he's not a power play guy in the NHL, even though he's been a power play guy for Hockey Canada in the OHL. And I do think there is some sneaky offense in there. I think he's a very smart puck mover, and he kind of shows flashes where he kind of jumps up into the play and shows some creativity. But, realistically for the NHL, this is a guy who's going to be killing penalties, who's going to be taking a lot of tough defensive zone draws. who you're going to be wanting to play some of the harder defensive minutes, but maybe not kind of guy who's going to be putting up 30, 40 points in the NHL.
What is it that you like most about his offensive upside?
Like I said, I think it's just the ability to make a really good first pass, and to kind of push the puck up the ice quickly, and make a lot of right decisions. I don't think this is a guy who's going to, make the end-to-end rushes, because I don't think, the skating or the hands are really the selling points of this game.
All right, let's look to Kitchener Rangers D-man Donovan Cebrango, another gifted skater with more of a gritty game. What makes him stand out among the other defenders in this draft class?
I think I think he's a very well-rounded player. Watching Cebrango both with Kitchener and with Hockey Canada, watching him at the Hlinka Gretzky Cup last summer, you saw a player who does a lot really well. Like you said, he's a very good skater. I think he's competitive. I think he has above average skill, and he moves the puck pretty well. Nothing about his game just jumps off the page. I wouldn't say he's like one of the top 5 in the draft at any of those things I just mentioned, but I think he's a guy who's going to be able to do a lot, and I think that versatility will allow him at the pro game to be used in different situations and be effective in that. And because of the skating and the competitiveness, I think his game is going to translate to the pro level pretty well.
Well, the Rangers, of course, had a very exciting turnaround story this past season. How did Cebrango's defensive play kind of play into that, and why does he deserve a second look because of that?
No, he played a significant responsibility on that team. I mean, I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but I do know he played a lot of minutes for that team, and they were a good team. And I think when you are a top player on a good team, that speaks to your abilities. He was a guy who played significant responsibility on Canada's team that won silver at the Hlinka Gretzky, and arguably, if they didn't run into an extremely hot goaltender, you could have argued that was the best team there. And I think that speaks to how he gets trusted by a lot of coaches wherever he goes. He's a really solid player, I think, and that's why I think, he could be a second round pick in this upcoming draft.
All right, and we'll finish off with one player to watch, this time looking to the Eastern Conference and Jack Thompson of the Sudbury Wolves. Now, he's kind of touted as an underrated defenseman, and he really took his game to another level in his sophomore season. What is it that you like best about Jack Thompson's game?
Yeah, I mean, Jack definitely was a bit of a riser this season. I don't think he kind of came into the season with as much NHL draft hype, and definitely had a really strong first half there where he was putting up a lot of points. And what stands out about him would be his hockey sense and his shot. I think from the offensive blue line in, there was a lot to work with. I think he showed on the power play there that he can be dangerous in a variety of ways. There's going to be some stuff he's going to need to work on in terms of improving his foot speed, but the offensive components of his game, I think, are interesting and are going to lead to him being an NHL draft pick.
All right, well, lots to look forward to with the NHL draft. Nice and close. Corey, such a pleasure to have you on to chat prospects. Thanks so much for joining me, and so glad you're keeping well during these uncertain times.
Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it.
That's the Athletics' Corey Pronman weighing in on the top NHL draft eligible defensemen, and this has been OHL Prospect Primer. Take care.